Hi, I'm back again so I could give an opinion or lessons, let's say, and lessons and reasons why you should watch the movie The Wildflower. If you don't watch it as and if you don't want to watch it as anything or as anyone, please watch it according to the saying that says it takes an entire village to raise a child. So for the fact that it takes an entire village to raise a child, I want you to watch it as being a member of that village that raises a child. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wemimo and I'm also known as Platform 5, also known as TMO5 Candle Co. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always coming back. And like I said in my intro there, I've come here to give you reasons and maybe lessons learned from this movie called The Wildflower. So before I dive into it, we've got top artists and actresses who actually graced this video, and let me name a few of them, and I'm going to pop their image somewhere. So the first person is Toyin Abraham. As we all know, she acted as Mama Olisa. We've got Deyemi Okanlawon, who happens to Mr. Gowon. We've got Zubi Michael, who acted as John Tanner. We've got Damilare Kuku, who acted as Rulake, aka Rolly. We've got Nochi Kachi, who acted as Pastor Dotun. I've only started seeing this guy in movies. And we've got SODK, who acted as Coyote, and we've also got Angel Unique, who acted as Cecilia. By the way, she's really pretty. Anyway, those are the few of the cast and crew. There's many more cast and crews in this movie. However, I've just mentioned the top crews that are actually seen in the movie. So this movie is called The Wildflower, and you can watch it on Netflix. So because I watched it on Netflix as well, so you should be able to watch it on Netflix. However, from their Instagram page, I think it's gonna be coming on into cinema from the May 27th or something. If I get the date wrong, I'm gonna pop the date on the screen of when it's gonna be airing in the cinema, if you're someone who fancies watching movies like that in a cinema. So a short synopsis of the video entirely. So just on Netflix, the synopsis says 3 women silently endure abuse and assault from a lecherous boss, an abusive husband, and a creepy neighbor until one of the women speaks out. So that's just a short synopsis on Netflix. However, while I was watching this movie, I made a note of the lessons we should learn, one as a parent, one as a dad, one as a mom, one as a teenage girl, one as a young guy, one as, if you don't belong to any of these 5 groups, at least one as a community that raises a child. So when I watched that movie, I mean, the first few scenes resonated to a part of my life while I was growing up, like between the ages of 7 till about 12, about maybe 15. I could resonate with at least 3 of the scenes in that video, and 3 of the scenes include one, the physical abuse between the parents, 2, the approach of John Tanner, Cecilia's sister, who is Ada Olisa, being exposed to Uncle John Tanner, and 3 is the fact that fathers not just providing. So kind of like I could really relate to 2 of those. The third one is kind of like touch, feeling, and go. So anyways, let's not dive into that. Like I was saying, when I watched the first few scenes, I shed a few tears, I cried, and it made me reflect back as to when I was growing up in my father's house, with my parents. You know, I could see abuse, I could see physical assault, I could see a lot of things that I would think in my head that when I grow up, there's no way I'm going to allow a man do that to me. I've always known that from day one, because there's no way my mom is going to go through all of that and I would end up being with a man, and I will allow that go on, like, happen to me. So I knew from a very onset that there's no way I'm going to put up with that. And secondly, in the aspect of physical abuse as well, it's just a no. Like, it's no, like, no marriage, no man deserves you. In fact, women will say they are staying for their children, but trust me, when you are dead and gone, your children will live their lives. So like I was saying, when I watched this movie, I shed a few tears in a couple of the scenes. It made me reflect back on, you know, how my parents, what their relationship were and what their relationship are right now, and the impact it has actually had in my own personal lives. Yes, if you're from a home where abuse was a part of it when you're growing up, trust me, it will have a negative impact on your life. And I can tell you, sitting here, it does have a negative impact in my life, which I'm not really going to dive into today. So let's dive into the lessons slash reasons why you have to watch this movie. So I'm going to be glancing that, because while I was watching that movie, I wrote a note. So I've got about maybe 15 lessons I've learned from this movie. So lesson number 1, if you are not ready for marriage, please stay single. And this applies to both men and women. So if at any point in your life, if you're courting somebody and maybe at some stage you're like, you have a doubt that things might not go the way you want, or you feel within you that you're not ready for marriage, please do not get married. And why did I say this? I said this when the first episode of how Baba Adaobi was beating his wife, Mama Olisa. That was like, you know, that kind of like triggered something in me. That was the first episode that I watched. It triggered some sort of thing in me and I cried. At some point I shed a tear, and then I got angry afterwards after watching that movie. But then I had to kind of like let that go, that it's a movie. It just kind of like reminded me of my, you know, my time when I was growing up. So that was the first screen that kind of like, you know, if you're not ready for marriage, like I said, this applies to both man and woman. If you're not ready for marriage, please take a break and do not go into it. Then reason number 2, or lesson number 2, why you should watch this movie, The Wildflower. Never allow a man uses his hands on you or raises his hands on you. Trust me, people will say first time is a mistake. And in my own opinion, first time is never a mistake. This person, either the man or the woman, was just waiting for the right time to start pouncing on you. So never ever allow a man or a woman use their fist against you. That's lesson and reason number 2. You have to watch the movie Wildflower. Lesson number 3 is that if a man doesn't provide for his family or drop money for the upkeep of his family, then he should not eat. Because in that video, I saw Mama Olisa and Baba Olisa. Baba Olisa did not drop money for food. He came home asking for food. And in the episode, we saw how Mama Olisa was like asking Madabi to go hide her money. I mean, what mother has not hidden money? You know, so in this aspect, a man is meant to love, protect, provide. If he's not able to do all of that, then he really shouldn't be married. Or maybe if he's married, he shouldn't really be making children. That's how I see it. Like I said, all of these lessons I'm saying are my opinion, and opinion I've derived from watching the movie. So that's reason number 3, you should watch this movie. And reason number 4 is this: guard your young daughters against men like Uncle John Tanner. Zubi Michael played the cast John Tanner, and you can see that each time it was lusting after this young girl, and this girl, who happens to be a very smart girl, was always like, no, I'm not going into your house, I'm not coming to your house. As a child, as a growing teenager, I experienced that as well. My father had tenants in his house, and at least 3 of his tenants were always jesting after me. Like, they intentionally sent me a message or sent me on an errand, and then they asked me to come into their rooms, and me, I'll be standing by the door like, I'm not coming in. I'm not coming. Like, take your stuff. If you're not taking, I'll drop it on the floor there. So, like I said, I believe a percentage of us, like I just said from my experience there, actually came across such uncles as a teenager. If you came across uncles like Uncle John Tanner while you were growing up, drop it in the comment section. Let's discuss. So, last for me, I encountered at least 3 of them while I was growing up as a teenager. And then lesson number 5, a reason why you should watch this movie, is that mothers, you should never shut your young daughters up, especially when you send them on a particular errand, or you send them on an errand and they're not particularly willing to go to that particular errand, or they give excuse of not going. From that saying, you could see Adaobi like saying she doesn't want to go to Uncle John Tanner's. She doesn't want to go to Uncle John Tanner's because her mother, Mama Olisa, asked her to go drop something for Uncle John Tanner and bring back her money. And we all seen from that episode as well, when she went to Uncle John Tanner's, and Uncle John Tanner was like, okay, come inside and take the money. And she was like, oh no, I'm not coming inside. All I know is that I just want to give you this thing and give my money to my mother. And Uncle John Tanner saying to her that if you don't come in, you will not get money. And she was like, hey, my mommy told me to bring her money back. Oh, you know, she started raising her voice, and then fear catch Uncle John Tanner. He quickly gave her the money, and you know, Adaobi went back to her mother. So we should never ever, we should keep an eye on our young children, especially our female daughters, as like, you know, when you ask them to go on an errand and they are kind of like sluggish, they don't want to go, or they're hesitant about that part. Just it might not be a particular, it might be a couple of errands to send them and they're hesitant to go, or they're making up reasons not to attend that errand. Something is fishy, you need to talk to them. So that's reason number 5, and lessons I've learned from this movie. And lesson number 6 that I've learned is that no man, marriage is worth staying till you lose your life. You can imagine Mama Olisa stayed with Baba Adaobi and she ended up losing her life, you know, from being physically assaulted, from being turned to punching bag for no reason of her own. And at some point in multiple scenes, Baba Adaobi made it look as if it was Mama Adaobi's fault for staying, I mean, for all these things happening to her, for him battling her up. No, it's never your fault. It's never a woman's fault for a man beating her up. If you're a man and you beat your woman up, no, well, trust me, you've got issues that you really need to sort out, and you really should not be in a relationship if you can't keep your hands to yourself. And if your hands is actually itching you that much that you really want to beat a woman or your wife for that matter, I think you should go to somewhere in Oshodi or Isaleko. There are some people that will match you for your punches. So that's lesson number 7. Sorry. So lesson number 7 I've learned is, this is to the singles. If a man or woman think you don't make the best decisions, please rethink about that relationship. So this was between Rolake and what's her boyfriend's name, Kayode. Rolake was working with Mr. Gowon, and Kayode was not quite, you know, okay with the relationship. So at some point when she was going to go for that work trip with Mr. Gowon, Kayode was like, it was feeling a bit, it's normal for like partners to get jealous, but in the case where you are telling your other half that I don't trust you to make the best decisions, you should be very, very careful. Lesson number 8 is that at the end of the day, Adaobi's parents, her father disappeared after killing her mom, and these girls are thrown into a traumatic situation whereby she was exposed to Uncle John Tana, who almost raped her, and then they were being passed from one neighbor to another. These children, I'm telling you, for the fact that this is the happen, it's going to have an impact on their future lives and their future relationship. Yes, like I mentioned earlier on, that I'm lucky my parents are still both alive, but the fact that I witnessed abuse between both of them, it's kind of like left a negative impact in my life, which I'm working towards. So seeing those young girls, yeah, that trauma is going to be in their lives, and it's going to have negative impact for their lives forever. So as a parent, we should always rethink our behaviors, especially men who beat their wives. You need to rethink that attitude. So lesson number 9 that I've learned from this movie, and the reason why you should watch this movie, The Wildflower, is that male boss female relationship will always have a clause. Yes, and if you have a male boss and you are the woman PA, there's always going to be a clause there. You can't avoid it. So as I was saying, Rolly did not really deserve what Mr. Gowon did to her, because she appears innocent, but then she has a partner. She does not deserve to come into work and being, you know, molested by her boss, you know. So male female relationship in an office space is always going to have like a clause to it. So 10, never ever agree to stay mute for a workplace abuse. So it doesn't have to be sexual abuse, it could be any form of abuse. Nobody deserves to go to work and be abused in any way. If you're being in whatever abuse, you know, abuse has loads of points underneath it. So nobody deserves to go to work and be abused, either be shouted at, or either be punched, or either being called names. Nobody deserves that at all in the workplace. So never keep mute. You need to speak up. If you can't speak up to your manager, go straight to the top. Go to the HR straight away. And if you go to the HR and if you think the HR is not doing anything, go to your union. And that is why I've always said to you that whatever job or career or profession you are in, there's always going to be a work trade, a trade union for that profession. I'll pop a video of where I spoke about the importance of you being a member of a trade union of your profession. So number 11, never cover up for a sex predator. If you notice somebody's waka in your environment or in your community that, you know, this person is always going after young girls or young boys, don't cover up. Speak to somebody. If you can't speak to somebody in the community, speak to the police. Yeah, that's number 11. Number 12, I felt that there are a lot of these NGOs everywhere. So we should make our communities aware of various of NGOs that fight for women and teenage children or teenage girls. yes, we hear of NGOs being available, and the only time I've actually heard of NGOs are when there are like rape cases on social media. That's where that, oh, so NGO came out, so NGO came out. But on a normal day, if I've not heard of any abuse case or anything, I don't think I've got a clue of any NGOs that are available there. So NGOs should make themselves more aware, like they should run more awareness of what they do, of their organization. So that's one thing. The lessons I've learned is that the way the society has kind of like raised a girl child into society, actually makes women go through what some women go through, what they go through right now. So it's all right for the kid, like when men are talking, girls should keep short, or the way the society has raised the girl child is that men will always have the upper hand, while the girl child will always have the lesser hand. No, blood flows through our veins. We are human beings. We have the same flesh. We have the same blood. We might not be raised the same way. However, whatever a man can do, they said a woman can do better. So why should a woman be raised lesser or be looked at lesser as compared to men? So in this view, I was able to kind of like realize the fact that yes, just because something is happening to a man does not necessarily is not happening to a woman, and because something is happening to a girl or a woman does not mean that it's not actually happening to men as well. So that's lesson number 13. And the last and not the least lesson that I felt I've learned from watching this movie is that it's just going back to the NGOs. Our NGOs should make themselves aware, like make themselves like they should popularize themselves. Don't popularize yourself only when there's one case of abuse or molestation that somebody has come up to. No, don't make that about your NGO. Make your NGOs available in every community, in every schools, in every sexual health clinic, in every hospitals, in every religious centers, because at the end of the day, we saw how Pastor Dotun was trying, who is a pastor, was trying to tell his wife, who was once a victim of this Mr. Gowon, of being sexually harassed by Mr. Gowon. So obviously, because he is a pastor, he's trying to cover up because he doesn't want his family or his church to be exposed to such drama that is going on. However, he's able to go onto the pulpit and preach that, tell the truth and the truth shall set you free. How are you telling the truth and the truth shall set you free when you're not actually allowing your wife, who is actually a survivor, to come out and support somebody who has actually gone through the rape and stuff like that? And all of these things happen, so we shouldn't only be keeping our mouth shut. If something happens to you, there are so many lessons to be learned in this video. Just for example, when the case went to court, they were asking Rolake, did you go to the police? Did you have a doctor's medical report? So these are the things we should be we should learn from this movie as well. Maybe in another video I might just come up with like, if you ever touch with, nobody ever have to go through rape, but if you ever have to go through rape, the first thing is to go check up yourself to make sure that you are protected against any diseases or illnesses that you don't know that this predator has on them. Make sure you are medically covered in that way, and afterwards, once you already have your medical letter or your medical report from your doctor, then you can go file a police report. I know police in Nigeria, they are like, they are crazy right now, but if you don't want to go alone, try and go with somebody, maybe a pastor from a church or somebody in the community that that they know what is happening in society. They are able to voice that, they are able to speak up. So go with someone like that who will be able to speak up, so you don't get intimidated by police when you go to file such cases. However, I actually enjoyed that movie. I really enjoyed it a lot, in as much as it opened some old wound in my life. I still felt that it's all right for me to reflect on what's happened in the past and move on from it. So like I said, make sure you go to watch this movie. It's available on Netflix, and if you're someone who enjoys watching movies in a cinema, I think it's coming to cinema in May or something. So like, if you've watched this movie, what have you learned in the movie The Wildflower? Pop it in the comment section. If you are yet to watch it, please go watch it and come back and drop a comment for me here. Anyway, this is the end of my lessons learned from the movie Wildflower. If you agree with all I've said while you've watched the movie, drop a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to like, turn on the post notification, and also subscribe if you are yet to do so. Share this movie, and also don't forget to join my membership, and I hope to catch up with you in another video. Bye.